What is up, Shift Yes Tribe? We are launching our theme for this month, which is change and navigating change, which is a big deal for companies and human beings in general. I know it can be so tumultuous. And so what I want to talk about this as a sort of baseline is creating a culture of being open, right? Our receptiveness to change and like our resilience around change and our mindsets and attitudes about change, because at its core, change is so hard based on the narrative that we create around it. And like it can be torturous to go through change if our narrative is negative and our attitude and mindset is not of receptive, that like change is a guarantee. It's an absolute thing that we know will exist. The way you do your job now will be different a year from now, and 2 or 5 years from now, you're going to do things differently. It can be such a challenge for human beings because we get comfortable where we are. But I think it's important to remember, right, that like you as an individual, even though, right, a lot of times our mindsets is like we change something and it's like, oh man, I used to have to send this over here, but now I have to push this button and do this instead. And we're just like, oh, like it totally derails us. But because this process has changed, because we're like comfortable, we're so resistant to that, or like the fear of the unknown, or just the uncomfortableness of like these patterns and things that are comfortable to us. But remember that you could change literally everything about your company, all of your systems, all your processes, your software, the way you do everything in your role. You could change all of it and hire somebody the next day and they could learn how to do all of those things, like no problem. And also, if you didn't already have your job, you could learn all of those processes and systems and software like no problem, the same way that you did when you got hired in your job. But because we're part of that process, our attachment to the way that we used to do things and that narrative is like what makes change so hard for human beings. But that sense of resilience and receptiveness to understand that like, yes, things are different now, but to like have a grip on reality. This is true for us now. So how do we make the most of this and move forward? And for teams and organizations to just collectively have a mindset that is open and receptive to that, where people are just like, cool, this is what we've got. Let's march forward together. Instead of this like having to be dragged uphill in the mud against our will because things are different. It's like, you also used to have a flip phone and you don't have one anymore. It's like things change. And for us to have that like embraced sort of mindset and attitude and narrative around change is like, that's a really, really key component to make change easier and for us to be able to thrive and adapt and grow and continue to be exceptional as a team and organization.